Welcome back to Ozarks Fox. A local doctor is prescribing something else to her patients, and it's not medicine. Well, it's a different kind of medicine, I guess you can say. She's prescribing healthy food to her patients, and they can redeem those prescriptions at Cross Lines and Springfield Community Gardens. The idea is to help patients who are food insecure. The U.S. Department of Agriculture reports 1 in 8 Missourians had difficulty at some point in 2018 providing enough food for everyone in their household. So healthy food prescriptions was Dr. Carissa Merritt's way of helping bridge that gap. She's here now with us to talk about this idea. Dr. Merritt, thank you so much for being here.
Of course, thank you for having me.
So how did this idea come about? I'm sure it wasn't something you woke up one day and thought, this is a solution. Maybe this is something you had been thinking about for a while. Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's a great question. This idea originated because I had spent a lot of time in pediatrics working with small children, and there are a lot of resources that we have for children. Questions like, do you have enough food, are routine for pediatric providers. However, when I started working in predominantly adult medicine, I realized that no one was really asking those questions that are equally important. And we are heavily burdened in the medical system by chronic disease that are largely lifestyle related, like inactivity, lack of diet, quality diet, exercise, alcohol, tobacco, things like that. And when you see so many chronic diseases as a result of the things people put in their mouth, it's difficult to not do anything about it.
What are the types of food that you're prescribing? What are these healthy foods that you're prescribing?
For patients who are identified as food insecure in a very urgent way, we have boxes of shelf-stable food that we keep in our clinic. Those are largely items that you would expect to find at a pantry, right? Rice, pasta, canned meat, some canned vegetables, like Jell-O boxes. But then for patients who we've identified a chronic disease that has specific dietary needs, like if you're diabetic, you should be eating low-carb foods, or if you have a high blood pressure, you should be eating as little salt as possible. So on our prescriptions through Cross Lines, we're able to specify this patient who theoretically has diabetes should be able to shop more in the low-carb section, right? And they shouldn't be able to get sugary cereal, ice cream, cookies, soda. And then someone else who may have blood pressure or different needs, we're making sure that they're getting the low salt or no salt added varieties of the foods. So it's small changes, but it is starting to have that conversation, which is food matters, right? And what you feed yourself affects your health care. And ultimately, we know that it affects disease outcomes.
And it's relearning what to shop for, things a lot of times that you thought were healthy and that you should be eating that you are now learning. And you know, not just patients with something like diabetes or high blood pressure. For all of us, we're so used to eating these foods, we sometimes don't even know that you shouldn't be eating them.
Right. Yeah, and that's part of the conversation, right? It's what is a carbohydrate, what is a protein, what is a fat, in what proportion should you be eating those specific things to fuel yourself in a way that's healthy but not abundant. And how do we prevent obesity and the development of chronic disease, because we know that it's burdensome to people, and that if people had the choice and they had the resources, they wouldn't choose that. And so starting to have the conversation that sometimes that choice is just diet has been very humbling, definitely.
And how do you identify if a patient or a family is food insecure? Yeah,
so we're using a screening tool that was originally created by the American Academy of Pediatrics. We have about close to 10 years of data now that suggests it's about 96% sensitive in identifying someone with food security. Because we're extrapolating that tool to adult patients, we're doing our own validation studies to make sure that it's doing just as well, or hopefully just as well, in its sensitivity to identify adult patients. So that tool is called the Hunger Vital Sign. It's a 2-question tool, and the answers are either sometimes true, always true, or never true. And anything other than 2 never trues is a positive screen, and that then reflexes to us as doctors, adds on to the diagnosis list for that patient's chart, and we're able to write a prescription at that time.
Now, you are not the only doctor who is prescribing healthy foods to your patients. Other doctors are doing this as well now.
Yes.
What was that conversation like, and what was their response when you first introduced the idea, I want to prescribe healthy food for a specific group of patients?
Yeah, so the first conversation we really had was, I want to screen people for food insecurity because I think that it matters. And that conversation was a little more troublesome because a lot of people were afraid I would just open a big can of worms, right? That I would identify that someone has needs that then I can't meet. But as we fostered community resources and realized that we could meet those needs here in Springfield with people like Cross Lions and Springfield Community Gardens, there was a lot more excitement about it. This isn't just an adult problem. It's not just a childhood problem. This is a community problem. Like you said, 16% of Springfield and just slightly less than that of Greene County is food insecure by USDA data. And that is well over the national average of just under 12%. And so in our preliminary data, it looks like it may be closer to 20% of people in my clinic setting are struggling with affording enough food. And so when that's true, it doesn't just need to happen in my clinic, right? That needs to happen everywhere.
Yeah. Do you think this is the future of medicine, or do you at least hope that this will be?
Yeah, I hope so. Food is medicine, right? That's just true, whether we accept that as a society or not. If people could eat real food and move their bodies, we would have a much lower incidence of chronic disease. But when we're in a system that doesn't teach that from a young age, we end up kind of on the tail end of the issue, trying to instead do damage control. I hope that eventually we will move towards a prevention approach, right? And realize that starting in early childhood, the food that we choose matters. And teaching people that food really is medicine, it's preventative health care, and that just because someone is in a low socioeconomic status does not mean that they should be relegated to chronic disease as a result of their inability to afford quality food.
Well, it's great to see these efforts here locally. I'm sure your patients and your colleagues sound like they appreciate that too. Dr. Merritt, thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate it.
We'll be right back with more right here on Ozarks Fox.